What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the day 4 update for my Unarmed Cyclone build. It's that time of the day where the server starts to crash, so I thought I might as well just make my day 4 update video now. So I haven't made any updates to the gear or the tree today. I've been farming and slowly stacking up the currency. I was planning to save up for a frenzy ring, which from what I saw, ranged between 70 to 80 divs. But eventually, I started thinking that maybe it might be a bit overkill for this time. So I started investing in materials to craft my armor. I already got like half of them in my stash, so hopefully I can make that video tomorrow for the endgame armor, which should be pretty cool. But today we're going to talk about mercenaries, because I did see a lot of you asking about mercenaries, and I realized I never really touched upon the subject. So yeah, let's go over the mercenaries a bit. I'll show you my current setup, what you can do as a low budget version if you can't afford all the items, and what I think that the ideal setup should look like. So let's look over the mercenaries. Now I have these three. I would like to quickly mention the bow mercenary before I get into these three. Thing is, at first I thought that the bow mercenary should be the best because it had stuff like haste aura, grace aura, um, I think it was Poacher's Mark, and yeah, it seemed like a really great addition. But Poacher's Mark is you can't really rely on the mercenary to cast it, and actually, Poacher's Mark is more used as a frenzy charge generator for single target. When you're fighting a boss or an isolated rare, the only way that you can generate frenzy charges is if you have quality on your Poacher's Mark, and that's why it makes it so valuable in this build. So if the mercenary has it, it becomes redundant because you're always going to cast it anyway. So Grace is pretty good, but once you equip a brutal restraint, and you want to equip a brutal restraint eventually because it gives a lot of dex. So once you do that, it breaks your notable. I forgot what the called. I keep confusing it with unwavering stance. But the one that converts evasion to armor. So evasion becomes useless. So that just leaves haste aura, which is nice, but I mean, it's not worth it picking up that mercenary just for the haste aura. Okay, so my other picks are as follows. There's this guy, which I initially used. He was pretty cool because he had determination aura. He had prism plate, which causes a portion of your armor to apply to elemental damage taken. It will be nicer if it was backwards, so for physical hits to go through the elemental mitigation. But anyway, yeah, it was a nice mercenary with two good buffs. It was really tanky because you can equip something like a Shaper Shield on it, and he becomes really strong. He almost never dies, even though he was level 81. He was doing fine in Simulacrum, but I found better options. There was the Bloodletter. The cool part about this one is, of course, the determination, but he also has a buff that grants you attack speed. The damage over time multiplier is not really used for this build, but that would be kind of nice. So, yeah, I was using this guy for a while, but in my opinion, the best thing that you can have right now is a striker, preferably one with these skills. So mainly we want to look for determination. That's a must because it's of course a really strong aura, which we can't equip. So determination and heavy striker vulnerability. This is really cool because it applies vulnerability, and that of course is absolutely strong. It gives chance to bleed and increased physical damage taken from the monster. It's a really cool addition. The only thing is that, from what I can tell, the mercenaries seem to share your curse limit. So if we are using Poacher's Mark and he will apply vulnerability, it would just get cancelled, and on and on. I would apply Poacher's Mark, lose the vulnerability. He would apply vulnerability, we would lose Poacher's Mark, and so on. But because we share maximum curses. We can bypass this by using an amulet with an additional curse corruption. These are pretty cheap. I think I paid 20 chaos for this one because it had bigger life, but you can get ones with 80 life or lower for like 5 chaos or even less than that. The only thing you really want to look for here is life and additional curse. Now, for the anointment, I use Glacial Cage. Basically, it increases the damage taken by the monster by up to 10% if the monster has been chilled by the mercenary. We'll go over that in just a moment. So, I think this is the best amulet you can equip if you have vulnerability. If you don't have vulnerability, then you can just equip any amulet you want. In terms of other skills, we also have Enduring Cry, which is great because it gives us endurance charges, and Vigilant Strike. And because it has this support, that means it gives Fortify to my character and even the dervishes. Now, at first, I thought this would be absolutely awesome because that means I can ditch the Fortify Implicit on armor and get less damage taken per dexterity, which will mean like 10% less damage taken. It's pretty awesome. But I tested this and it's really unreliable. You get fortification from the mercenary like a third of the time. So while it's nice because it grants it to the dervishes, so it's still nice to have, it's not really something you can take as a valid source of fortify. I would rather have fortify on my armor and have 100% uptime than have it this from the mercenary just a third of the time. The second thing is Enduring Cry. This is great for him because it grants him endurance charges and also a big regeneration, and he has like 8,000 life, so that regeneration being a percent is going to help him stay alive a lot. Physical ages is a physical mitigation for him. It helps him stay alive, and of course Molten Shell works the same way that it works for us. So that's with the skills. If I were to say a priority order, I would say determination, vulnerability, and then if you can, enduring cry and fortify. Those are nice to have, but not mandatory because, like I say, you can't really rely on the Merc to grant them to you. You should have your own sources. Same thing for enduring cry. It's great because it gives you like 3 endurance charges instantly, and then you can work your way up to 7. But I wouldn't want to rely only on this because you will just end up losing your endurance charges eventually. So that's about it for the skills. In terms of items, one of the most important items that I think you can equip your Merc with is this Calm's Bending. The great thing about this is the last line: nearby enemies convert 20% of their physical damage to fire. This is really massive. First of all, because you will always have a high, if you're resistance capped, of course, you will always have a higher max hit for fire damage than you will for physical damage. So this will always result in around 12 to 15% less physical damage taken, which is pretty awesome. Those numbers might be a bit off now that I think about it, but you get the point. It's a really cool belt that you can equip, and it's really not that expensive. Right now, it's 40 chaos, but trust me, it's highly worth the investment. Now, if for some reason you can't afford to spend 40 chaos on the mercenary right now, even though it would be a great defensive boost, I recommend that you use Belt of the Deceiver, the one that has Intimidate for nearby enemies. That's 1 chaos, so it should be a good placeholder. Your Merc will be fine even without this, but I highly recommend that you pick up this at some point. For the boots and the armor, just Calm's Roots and Calm's Heart for the flat life. Thing is that with flat life, he has a lot of increased life, so life skills really cool on him. He has 8,000 life, so he basically never dies. I always die before him. He survives in wave 15 simulacrums, in harder maps, in just about anything. don't think I've seen him died since I've gotten this high life with him. Um, so just get Calm's Heart and Calm's Roots. You don't have to worry that much about resistances. You can see that, oh, he is kept. He sometimes shows up as uncapped because he's not benefiting from the purity of elements. But once we join a map or another instance, he will benefit from the purity of elements and be at maximum resistance. So for the gloves, I'm using Ceaseless Feast. These are the gloves that can drop for the Pudge-like poison monster boss that you encounter on your way to the Exart quest. But these cost around 1.5 divines right now. I haven't gotten to test them too much because I just recently bought them, so I can't know for sure if they are working, but based on the description I see no reason why they shouldn't. I'll just have to see. If they work, in theory they should be really cool because corrosion reduces armor about 5,000 on per hit and evasion as well, so they should be really awesome if they work. If they don't work, then I'll just probably resell them. But if you can't afford these, just buy some regular gloves with really high life roll. Again, life is really important. Some armor and dexterity would also be nice. That's about it. Another piece of armor that I think you can equip on the mercenary is an elder helmet that has nearby enemies take 9% increased physical damage. This is something you can very cheaply make. You just buy an Elder Influence helm. I recommend you get one with a decent base with pretty high armor and evasion like this one. They should be around 5 chaos. And then you just go to the Harvest bench and you craft Reforge Physical. It should take you around 10 attempts in average to get this roll, and once you do, it's really cool because you do a lot more damage to enemies near your mercenary, which is awesome. You can also increase this to up to 12% increased physical damage by using an Orb of Dominance, but for that you will have to roll until you have 2 Elder mods and then use an Orb of Dominance and hope it upgrades this one. But I mean, 9% is still pretty good. The second thing I would like to mention is about the weapons. As I mentioned, I'm using the Anointment Glacial Cage, which require you to chill the enemy in order to benefit from the increased damage taken. You can chill the enemy either by using a Soul Taker, like I am here, but this is kind of overkill. One of these is around 6 divine. I paid 3 for this, but it seems they got more expensive, so this is a bit overkill. Another way you can do this is either by equipping the weapon that I have here in the offhand, Daedus, which chills the enemy for 1 second on hit. But this is kind of hard to keep it stacked for 10 seconds to benefit from the maximum damage, but it is an option. Another more cheaper option is to equip the ring that makes it, all your damage be able to chill. It basically does the same thing that Soul Taker does, but through the ring slot. That's a much cheaper option, and now that I think of it, I should probably sell this and go for the ring also. So yeah, that's about it for the mercenary. I think I've covered most of the things that I wanted to show you. But I'm sure, I mean, this is just strictly my opinion. I haven't looked that much into the mercenaries and what they can do. I'm sure there's some guy somewhere that found some crazy mechanics that is really overpowered and probably works better for this. But if I were to say what I think that the best mercenary for this build should look like, this is probably close to the perfect one. So determination, vulnerability, increased damage taken, and some chill, that would be just about the best thing you can do. And that's about it for today's video. Please let me know what type of mercenaries have you found, and maybe you have some interesting mechanics that I haven't thought about. Leave a comment below and let me know. Thank you for watching and see you tomorrow, hopefully for the armor crafting video. Bye.